So we're gonna go over here to a 2017 Ford Escape, and the customer was complaining about it just not having so much power like it used to. It feels like it's way underpowered. And the short of the story is, on this particular one, without me getting into all the diagnostics, I wanted to check and make sure the turbo was actuating fine. I wanted to make sure that all of the reference values for the sensors were good. And what I found was this sensor at idle is your fuel rail pressure sensor, and it sits right up here, and it was reading 250 psi higher at idle than what it should have. The reference value from the factory is 600, it was reading 850, so the sensor was biased. I ended up replacing its sensor, and some of it was fixed, but not very much. I pulled this top wastegate or vent to atmosphere tube off, pulled it all off, and down here there's a vacuum solenoid that goes right here on the vacuum booster. That was what was actually causing the problem with the lack of power. So whenever I swapped it out with a known good one, all my power came back. Part number is, it comes with a whole spaghetti string of stuff, but if you vacuum test your wires going down to the turbo, one of the wires goes here to the air inlet box, and then the other one goes here to the vacuum pump. You'll actually see that those wires are, those vacuum tubes are fine. The vacuum tube going down to the turbo is fine. It was actually, the solenoid was malfunctioning. It wasn't able to let the vacuum down to the actual turbo to do what it's supposed to do by actuating and closing the wastegate properly. And when I swapped out the solenoid, all of a sudden, so here is the part number for the solenoid, F1FZ 9S468-Charlie. You can replace the whole entire thing if you want. Under warranty, I would. This is not particularly under warranty, but it actually comes as one entire assembly. Really, all you need is a solenoid itself, but you'll get the whole entire assembly from Ford. You can do what you want, but I'm just doing the solenoid only because I vacuum tested all the lines, and they test fine. And there's no dry rotting or anything like that. So the solenoid is the only thing I'm going to swap out, and that actually fixed the power for the lack of power on these. This is a 1.5 liter Escape, so this is where I went, and this is what fixed it. So there are some special clamps on here that are pre-tension hose clamps, and I have a special pair of OTC hose clamp pliers. The part number is 4525, and that's what I use to get these hose clamps off. There's two hose clamps on top of this engine. There's one here, and then there's one on the back side of this tube over here that's a pain in the butt to get to. You got to get that hose clamp plier on there and then kind of feel for what you're doing. Right there. Anyway, it's a booger, and those that solenoid is right down there, and there's two 10 mil nuts that hold that solenoid on there to the base of that vacuum plate. And then there's just sensors throughout this, and I think this is a 7 mil right here clamp, and then there's a 7 mil clamp back here that you got to get to, and once you can get those off of there, that tube will slide right out of there. But you got to make sure you get those two pre-tension clamps off. You can see how I've got this in the locked position right now with the clamp, because I can move it on and off of there, but I'm going to go ahead and release the pressure on it right now. So you kind of squeeze the handle together and then release the locking tab, and then it comes off. Okay, everything's back together, and the clamp down here is tight. All the electrical connectors and stuff are plugged back in all the way back. Clamps are put back on. Clamp back here, it's put back on. I dropped it down, so I had to lift the vehicle up and then pick this clamp back up and put it back on from the top. That sucks, but it is what it is. Everything's together. Now we're gonna go drive it. Okay, let's see. He used to not take off at all. Not even. Oh yeah, just basic throttle response is way better. Oh yeah. She moves good now. Yeah, see all that power that was, you just barely push on it, it's trying to go. So it's back. That's exactly what it was. It was that. Yep. It's back. It was that that turbocharger, that vacuum wastegate solenoid. Let's do a wide open throttle right here in the back of the parking lot and see what we got. Yep, she's good. So that was the fix, guys. That's no check engine light, no nothing, running good. Change the fuel sensor, which that's not typically the issue. Typically it's just that vacuum solenoid only. Well, there she is. Thanks, guys. Subscribe, thumbs up.